Good morning.
Good morning, Vets. Hey, Liz.
Hey, Luna, how are you?
Doing pretty good, ma'am. How about yourself?
Doing awesome. Facebook Lives are always super fun. I'm excited to
Mm-hmm.
do one with you.
Oh, yeah, it's really great. Where are some of our vets chiming in from?
Yeah, if you're in there in the chat, you can post where you're from. If you're a VACI client, you can post who your coach is. Give us some nuggets so we can give them some hard times. We love banter back and forth with each other. But yeah, give us a shout in the chat. We'll give you a shout as well, but give it a few minutes for people to kind of trickle in the room. Little known fact, when I first came to VA Claims Insider, I was on the same team as Coach Luna. So
Mm-hmm.
we were teammates before I went over to do the SVC gig.
Emmanuel, Ohio. Nice. Yep, Liz and I worked for, I think, over a year before, right?
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
about a year and a half.
So you have a lot of knowledge between the both of us. We've been at this since 2020. So we've definitely changed the lives of a lot of veterans with the elite program. And anybody that's new to hearing about what our program does, ask as many questions as you'd like. We are here to help vets. It is a very rewarding position to be in to help as many veterans as we have.
Absolutely. We got two people in the chat from Missouri. I'm in Missouri. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. I spent a lot of time in Neosho, actually. Um, Not as much time in Springfield. So welcome, Michael from Neosho. And we got somebody else that was down there from Springfield, but welcome. You Texans here too. That's
Yeah.
Coach Luna's stomping ground.
I'm in West Texas myself, Central and West Texas.
Yeah. So Manuel, thank you for joining us. Beverly, Mr. Ramos. We got Marshall Gordon from Arkansas. Our IT goddess Shanna is from Arkansas. We adore her. All right. DL Feesby, you're the one from Springfield. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Got some California veterans and Florida you coastal veterans are living the dream.
Daytona Beach, nice.
Heck yeah.
Must be hot there. This heat wave going across has been incredible.
Beverly in Michigan. You probably got the best weather right now, Beverly. George in Springfield, Virginia. Welcome.
Hawaii.
Aloha, Mia. Thanks for joining us. Lacey from Atlanta, Georgia, or Mitch from Atlanta, Georgia. Must be on your wife's account, huh? Good deal. Thanks for joining us, y'all. Eric Sloan, hello. Hello, hello. We got a couple of minutes left. We're going to let people keep trickling in. And then we'll get started on introductions and go over our agenda and um, get you rolling. We're here to talk to you guys today about personal statements and winning personal statements. So we're excited to get into the weeds for that. Then after, we'll answer some questions and get back to the chat. So again, thanks for joining us.
Richard Heath. You can sign up for this program if you're not happy with the current service that you're getting with the current representation. VAClaimsinsider.com. It has a sign up link, so give us a shout and we can see if we can help you out.
We'll get that link posted. There it is.
There you go.
Awesome. Luis, you said your screen is blurring. That might be on your end. If you drop off and come back on, it could help. Robert Navy in Pensacola, Florida. Thank you for joining us. And DL asks, what is the cost of our help? So we operate a little bit differently and we charge a fee of 6 times the amount of your monthly increase when you win your claim. Not before, we don't touch back pay, um, but 6 times the amount of your monthly increase. And if you want more details, click on the link below and you can check us out and see if it's the right service for you.
Mm-hmm. If we don't help you win your claim, you guys don't pay anything.
Exactly. All right. We got about 5 after. I'm going to kick this off and tell you a little bit about myself. I am Senior Veteran Coach Elizabeth Hash, SVC Liz, for those in the know. I retired in 2020. I spent the last decade of my career in recruiting for the Army National Guard. And before that, I served in Signal and as a quartermaster. I joined in 2000. I was 17 years old when I joined the military. My dad was also in the military. So my whole life, I have been around men and women in the uniform. I really was scared to death when I came out, not knowing what I would do when I got out of the service because I'm not sure how to be a civilian, right? And I was blessed to find VACI shortly after and have been serving fellow veterans since then. I also signed up as a client when I came on as a coach and used our resources to reach 100% PNT. So, for those of you who don't know, 100 PNT is permanent and total. So, that is my rating for life. And my link, if you want to sign up directly with me, is below. I've got a couple of my veterans in the chat room I've seen. So shout out to y'all. Thank you for joining us. I'm happy to see you. And I'll hand it over to Coach Luna for him to introduce himself.
So I'm Coach John Luna. I'm an Air Force vet. I had 4 years in active duty, Pope Air Force Base, and 6 years in Lackland in the reserves. 3 deployments under my belt. So I left after about 10 years of service, and I had a whole bunch of odds and end jobs for a while. The job right before VACI, I was actually a party boat captain on Lake Travis, which was a lot of fun.
Sounds
But
like fun.
COVID happened, shut us down, and I was very fortunate to find this job in Austin and came on board. And honestly, like at that point, I had already been through the VA process. I knew how difficult that process was. So having a job presented to me where I could help other veterans avoid a lot of the mistakes or a lot of the anxieties of going at it alone just I mean, it fits like a glove. I love what I do now, and I love being able to make the process easier because going at it alone was so nerve wracking, was so confusing. So being in a position where I can help my fellow veterans, regardless of any era, has been exceptionally rewarding.
I agree. It's the best part of the job. And
Mm-hmm.
Beverly posted in the chat that we had another member of our group hit 100% permanent and total this morning. So we celebrate together and it's a community. We'd love to have you in our community if you're looking for that, not just to get your claim increased, but to be part of something where everybody's cheering you on and they're going through the same things. Definitely click on the link, join us, see if this is a good fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have done our introductions, we're going to get rolling into our presentation. We're talking about personal statements. Now, we'll go over the agenda, and then at the very end, we'll open it up for questions. So, if you could hold your questions in the chat so that we don't miss anything until we're done, I'll let you know when we're going to do the Q&A. But we're going to just quickly cover, what is in a personal statement, what should not be in a personal statement, and really how to get your point across in your personal statement. And so we'll get right to it. Personal statements can be really valuable, but they're not always necessary. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. Um, I do recommend writing a statement regardless of whether or not you're going to submit it to the VA. And this is going to help you understand and articulate your symptoms. Beverly in the chat knows I've got her doing some work right now. But I want you to consider the person on the other end who's going to be reading that statement if you are going to be submitting it. And make your statement as concise and intentional as possible. If you're um, if you need to get all of the big details out of your head and onto paper, that's totally fine. Do it for you. And then pull the parts that are important to your claim for the statement that you submit. And get all of that stuff out before you get to your final draft. Luna, you got some stuff to add?
Yeah, I would like to say The number one thing that I see veterans have a problem with personal statements and even buddy statements on this is sometimes they will either they themselves will procrastinate on their claim, thinking that they need to have it perfect, or they'll have a friend who's going to write up a buddy statement who procrastinates and may or may not do it. So buddy statements, depending on the situation, may not even be needed. If your medical evidence is strong enough to support what you're going for, then there might not even be need for a personal statement. If you're already service connected for a musculoskeletal condition, a personal statement won't really up your chances of getting it increased. It's all going to come down to how much that condition has diminished in range of motion. So depending on the situation, it could be unnecessary. Also, be careful, especially with buddy statements and your own statement, that you're not saying something contradictory to the way that you're filing your claim. For instance, if you're filing something as a secondary and then you get a buddy statement that's talking about this condition from active duty, well, that's contradicting your argument. I mean, at worst, they may just ignore it. Or they could use that against your claim and say, well, we're reading that this statement is indicating that your condition should have been primary service connected, but you filed as a secondary. Now that could harm your claim. So be very delicate with a lot of these personal statements as well. They are useful, especially, let's say, if you did injure yourself on active duty, you do have a confirmed event that the VA acknowledges, but you waited 5, 10, 15 years to go to the doctor for it. Personal statements are a great way to bridge that gap of time from when you left active duty to when you first started going to seek help. So that would help bridge that time of the continuity of care that was lacking that might have got your claim denied the first time around. So that's a big problem with a lot of vets. Vets are notorious for just putting up with physical pain, muscling through. That's what we learn. But there will come a point where your condition gets so severe that you have no choice but to go to a doctor. So that may be the same condition 15 years from now to when you first start going to the doctor. But the VA won't see it that way. They'll see it as, you got over it and you went to the doctor 15 years later for a new injury in the same area. So statements are a great way to bridge that gap to talk about the escalation for that. So be very strategic with the way that you use your statements.
And to add, with bridging that gap, adding a chronological timeline indicating, hey, I sought treatment about 2 years after at this place, but they don't have the records. Or I didn't seek treatment for a couple of years because I didn't have medical insurance and I couldn't afford it. Um, I was treating it myself with over the counter medication, or I went to a chiropractor, I went to a whole health medical provider that didn't wasn't covered by my insurance or doesn't keep records. You can tell your story, and that's where they're really valuable. But again, you want to keep it concise and to the point so that they don't have to read through all of the fluff to get to the meat and potatoes that they need in order to make a decision on your claim. And just to kind of break down the elements of a personal statement that you need, there are four things. The first thing you need to do is identify the condition. You need to have a current diagnosis, identify what that is. Here is my condition, and you're requesting for service connection. So you need to describe why it's service connected. Is it connected because there's something that's easily proven that happened while you were in service, an in service event or stressor that you can prove that's maybe in your service treatment records, or it's documented in your personnel files, or it's documented via court or ER records, anything like that? Or is it something that's secondary to another one of your service connected conditions, like Coach Luna alluded to earlier? That's describing why it's service connected. And then you're going to describe the condition chronologically, like we talked about a little bit earlier. Talk about how it's evolved over time. Talk about any treatment you've tried up to this point, as well as ups and downs in the severity. Then you're going to describe your current symptoms and their severity and impact on your life. not just occupationally, but socially as well. I would always recommend thanking the reader for taking time to consider your claim, but that's really basically what you need in a personal statement, those four elements. If you go beyond that, you're risking just boring the person reading it to tears, truthfully. And, they're going to read these things, but have you ever read something that was repetitive or redundant and you just stopped or you got lost and you're like, I don't know what I'm reading? You just kind of zone out. Have you done that, Coach Luna?
I'm cringing at the time that I did during my first claim. I submitted maybe 20 pages worth of personal statements, essentially just repeating on loop. I didn't actually just get to the facts, and that's probably why my claim took 13 months. They probably just did not want to get around to reading all that. Like,
Man,
stick
they
to the
could
specifics.
they could
Hmm.
only eat the elephant one bite at a time, and maybe
Yeah,
that's
I should
3
have sent a
pages a day.
bookmarker. I should have submitted a bookmarker with that claim because I went overboard. But again, I didn't know. Like with the elite program, we can help you trim down to like the events that really did make a difference in your active duty or your condition that you're dealing with now to avoid burdening yourself with thinking that you have to write 15, 20, 30 pages and then unburdening the VA examiner who's going to be evaluating your claim so you can get a faster result.
Absolutely. And if you aren't sure how to do that, please click the link, check in with a coach, and see if we're able to help you. We do this a lot, and we know what works, and we're excited to coach you through this process. So click on the link, try it out, see if we're a good fit again. Another thing with your personal statement, you want to review the 38 CFR schedule of ratings for your specified condition and your medical evidence to make sure that your recollection of the events is accurate. And knowing what the rating schedule is allows you to draw out the details that the VA needs to hear or needs to read. Because when you're writing about these symptoms that aren't within the rating, that don't really matter according to the rating schedule, the rater or the person reading it, that's not relevant to what they're doing. So it's just stuff that they need to sift through to set aside. And while it could potentially help to discuss tease out the details that are important, sometimes it's not relevant for the claim, and it, like Coach Luna said earlier, could hurt because you're maybe being redundant or going around and around. So know and understand the rating schedule. Look at your medical records that you do have, because current medical records are important too. If you haven't been to the doctor in 30 years for anything, before you file a claim, get to the doctor. Get that stuff documented. Get a current diagnosis. Your statement should really come and point back to the golden circle. So you've all heard the Kaluza triangle, which is diagnosis, a current diagnosis, an in-service event, and the nexus or that medical link between the two. Those are the three things that you need to have a successful claim with the VA. At VA Claims Insider, we have created or coined the golden circle because it includes another element, a fourth element, which is the severity and impact of your symptoms. Now, all of those combined are what you're trying to get across in this personal statement. You're not a medical professional. You cannot uh, submit an ironclad nexus, but you can tell them what you believe that nexus is. Why do you believe it's service connected? That's that very first piece. And if you have medical evidence to support that, it's even stronger. So when we say that sometimes a personal statement's not necessary, that's because when you have all of those elements and you have the medical evidence, they don't necessarily need to see all of the details.
Exactly. And going back to what you were saying too about the 38 CFR, um, Liz was right. You need to understand what the CFR is. That might not be easy for people who don't understand how to read the 38 CFR. So that's where we can help too in with us as your coaches. Is sometimes it's not really easy. It's like a mix of law and medical jargon in the 38 CFR. So if you don't know what you're reading, you might not know how it relates to you. So with us, we've already been through the process. We can interpret it for you to help you out in understanding how those conditions might be manifesting in your life, so you can get that on paper and get that in front of the VA, so you can pinpoint exactly what the VA can understand, rather than just going off in repetitive, kind of just shooting in the dark examples and statements. So we know how to read the 38 CFR, and if anybody has any difficulty in that, by all means, sign up and let us help you.
Absolutely. And you were saying that your personal statement that you wrote was like 20 pages.
It was long.
Mine was seriously 4 sentences. It was this long.
Mm,
And that was on my very last claim. And I was like, I don't know if it's going to work, but these are really the only details they need. And I submitted it. And guess what? It went through in 2 weeks and it was
nice.
approved. And granted, that's a unicorn. That doesn't always happen. Don't think that with a perfect statement or a really short statement that that's going to be the result every time. But I was just thrilled and elated because I couldn't believe, hey, it worked. So,
Hmm.
um,
That's pretty
yeah,
cool. And I guess that's another thing too that we get asked a lot is like, what's the perfect statement for my claim? Like, how does it need to read? Like, there's no magic phrase that you can just copy and paste. It is all subjective. So we help you understand, like, how does that look like with you? How does your mental health come out in your life? How is it diminishing the quality of your life? How is your sleep apnea diminishing the quality of your life? Etc. So there's not a secret book of sentences that the VA has that are looking for something like that. It's all extremely subjective. So we can help you interpret the 38 CFR, so you can find how that is happening in your life, and that's the method for making a good statement.
and we just had the link up for the blog post too that talks about all of this. If you are a visual person and need to see this in writing, it's available. There it is again. So click on that, check it out. It's got an example in there. It's great for your viewing pleasure and educational resource for you. Um, the other thing, to remember with personal statements is that, like Coach Luna said, it's not cookie cutter. It's not if one thing works for everyone. It really comes down to your claim. What does the VA need to see in order to adjudicate this properly? They need these elements. Have you provided those elements? Have you provided way too much? Have you provided not enough? So, if you're providing those elements, then that's all you need. I I like the personal statement and just getting it out of your head. But that's more for the veteran. That's not for anybody else. It helps you to support the claim because it helps you, like I said earlier, to understand how to articulate those symptoms and what you're actually going through, just to get it out. But that's for you. That needs to be really diced up and made a lot smaller for submitting to the VA. And you know, most of our clients don't always submit a personal statement because they have the medical evidence that speaks for itself. So, again, if you have that medical evidence, you might not need a personal statement. And Coach Luna kind of talked about buddy statements earlier too. Um, I like buddy statements to uh, kind of just solidify, hey, this person was there. I can attest that person was there, or I saw this happen. Other than that, when it comes to subjective symptoms, there's really not a place for them. So stick to that portion of it. And if you're not sure if you have everything you need, if you're wondering, do I need a personal statement? Do I need help with a personal statement? Um, what should we do here? Then click on the link and sign up and talk to a coach. We do have free 30-minute sessions that you can talk with one of our um, representatives, and it's a discovery call. So you can hop on there, chat with somebody live, talk to them about your specific concerns, and get some feedback. Always recommend just try it out, see if it's right for you. I have told veterans if I feel like this isn't the right fit for them, all of us, we are not here to um, to drag you in and not be of assistance. If we cannot be the assistance that you need, if we cannot provide you the service that you need and deserve, then we will let you know. And that's our
There's a lot
commitment.
of ways that we stay in contact. We have a lot of vets that we do help. So we have text, email, phone calls, booking links. So there's multiple ways to get in contact with us. Sometimes we might not be readily available every single day to take a call, but you can send a text, you can send an email for those quick questions. A lot of times when you book, it's either just for the first strategy session, then we lay out a very detailed game plan for you guys to accomplish, and then at the end, we meet up to make sure that everything looks squared away, and then go from there. So it's a versatile process. Like again, sometimes we can't always be ready for the phone, but we do maintain contact with vets on a daily basis through other methods. But we try to be as concise and thorough every time we do talk. So you have everything already available for reference.
Good stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
think we've covered most of the content for the personal statements, and we've gone over some really key points and details. Let's dive into some questions. Are you good with that, Luna?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome. All right. So let's get some questions out here. Um, I see Mia asked for a spouse's statement for claims. Do we need to submit one and cover all conditions, or one statement for each condition? Mia, that's a loaded question because it really depends on the situation. If it's four different conditions for your legs because you have orthopedic conditions, then he can speak to that on one statement. If it's your legs and then your mental health and then headaches as well, it should be three separate statements.
Mm-hmm.
And for buddy statements, make sure that they're not trying to diagnose you or put out their opinions. It needs to be what they've seen, what they've heard, and what they've experienced, and leave it at that. It's
A
really
good point.
important.
Like especially with if you're talking about multiple conditions, like Coach Liz was saying, like mental health, your knee, your back. You don't want to put that in one statement because you don't want to confuse the VA. I've seen statements like that where um, there was a lot of back and forth in each paragraph, and it looks confusing. You don't want that to happen. You want to make it easy for the VA. If the easier you make it for the VA to understand your claim, the better in favor for your claim. So if it's individual conditions all over your body, each statement for each condition, like keep it clean, keep it precise. If it's talking about how your knee is causing all problems around your leg, then probably talking about that in one statement would cover that effectively.
Exactly. All right. We've got Sergio. What are the 4 points for the statement? One is identifying the condition and describing why it's service connected. Describe the condition chronologically, the treatments over the time you've had, your current symptoms as well, with their severity and impact on your life, and how it's caused occupational and social impairment. And again, if you want to see those outlined, because sometimes I speak crazy, if you want to see that, you can click on that blog link, and that'll take you straight over there to be able to see it visually. All right.
Jock
Jeff,
Warnock. I want someone to listen to what my issue is and see if it's worth my time to be with you. I completely agree. We have a 30-minute conversation that you can have with a coach and see if it's a good fit. Sometimes we're not a good fit for a vet, and that's okay. So we provide that 30-minute call to see if it's something that we can both agree that is worth pursuing going forward, and no harm done, no obligations, no anything. So feel free to book some time and see if we're a good fit for you.
and during that call, Jeff, you are not pigeonholed into the questions that the website says. You can ask your specific questions. And our BDRs, our business development representatives who handle those calls, are trained so they know, hey, if we aren't going to be able to assist you at all, then they'll tell you too. That's part of their purpose, is to, you know, have these conversations, get this stuff out there, and talk to veterans individually to see if this is a good fit. Um, Again, you know, you're gonna talk to a real person. You might have to wait because we're real human beings. We're not AI. So um, if you have any issues with that whatsoever, and if you want, you can sign up directly with one of us, and we'll talk to you. But when you sign up and you sign the contract, if you decide at any point before you file your claim that this is not for me, then it's not for you. If you come in and you lose your claim, then it's not for you. But really, our goal is to coach you and mentor you to keep fighting until the VA gets it right. And my link is below if you want to sign up directly with me. And then we'll get Coach Luna's link up there too, so you can sign up directly with him. But yeah, we're ready
You
for
also
it.
get our motivation when we file claim, or when we help you guys file your claims. It's really frustrating when we see a denial and we can read the reasons and realize that it was a sloppy denial. Now, we know how to recognize sloppy denials. A lot of vets don't understand that, so when they see that their claim is denied, um, understandably, they're upset. They feel defeated, and a lot of times they just want to give up. And I've seen good claims that were sloppily denied, and a vet was so close to just quitting the whole process altogether. But you get our motivation. I'm like, look it, like they made several mistakes on this. Let's go ahead and appeal this, and we can help you guys see that it was just a sloppy denial. So you get that motivation. Like we get motivated, and we get angry when we see sloppy denials, especially when we already get to uh, develop a relationship with all our vets. Like your cause becomes our cause, and our strategies check out. So a lot of times, if we don't suggest going after a specific claim and we suggest going after another, that's because we've seen that tried and true method work. So if it doesn't work and we see it was because of a sloppy evaluator, we get angry. We're like, we gave you everything that was required. And of course, the vet gets angry, sad, or disheartened. I'm like, don't go into that headspace. You keep going. You keep going. It's a solid claim. So that's what you get.
Yeah, and it's hard for us too sometimes to suffer those losses because we feel it.
Oh
Our
yeah.
top core value is empathy, and we all have it, and we all feel when you guys get a loss. We all feel when you guys get a win. And man, it can feel really bad or it can feel amazing, and we celebrate those victories with you as well. So that's really exciting. One of the cool things about our business development representatives is you have their number and you can communicate with them again. If you feel like they didn't answer all of your questions, reach back out. Hey, I'd like to ask you some more questions. Can you do that for me? Absolutely. We're here to serve veterans. That is our goal. And that is what our expectation is of each other. And we hold each other accountable to serve veterans to the best. of our abilities. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that, and we'll get to some other claims or some other questions.
There was one I wanted to go back on here. So someone's asking if you have the ability to change a coach once you sign up. Yes, you do have the ability to change a coach, to change coaches once you're in the system. Support at vaclaimsinsider.com. If you feel that, and again, like sometimes it might not be a good fit, but that doesn't mean that the process is not going to work. If you find a coach that you can mesh better with after a change of request, then we can easily accommodate that. So don't feel like when you sign up and you're stuck with a coach and you might not be on the same wavelength as that coach, that you're just simply stuck in there and there's nothing you can do. You are more than able to request a new coach to see if there's somebody that might be a better fit.
Yeah, I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Same here. Same here.
Right? And actually recently Coach Luna, we communicated because I had a veteran that requested to change coaches, and now Coach Luna is their coach. And the way that we handle that is we communicate, hey, this is where we've gotten to this point. Here you go. If you have any questions, let me know. Good luck. If you need support, I'm here. And that's it. There's no hard feelings. There's nothing. I don't, I didn't take it personally, because at the end of the day, you sign up for elite service. And if I'm not the one that's supposed to provide it for you, let's find someone who is. And all of us have that feeling, because again, here to serve vets. So
Mm-hmm.
Travis Piles, I'm in the Air National Guard and had injuries that were not documented, but now have buddy statements from drill weekend status. Does VA Claim Insider help out Guard members who are on a drill status and obtain injuries? Yes, absolutely. It is a lot harder. It is much more difficult when you don't have an LOD or a line of duty documented, but it's possible. And buddy statements, that's a great example of how to effectively use a buddy statement. This happened on this drill weekend, and I saw it. I was there for it. And then this happened afterward. That's a perfect example. So Travis, thank you for sharing that. Um, yeah, we can absolutely help. Good stuff. Let's find another question in there. All right. Filed a claim, Sharon Bass. I filed a claim in 2006, but it was denied. I never filed an appeal. Can I file another claim for this issue? Absolutely, you can. Yep. There is a time limit for if you're going to submit a higher level review, but there's no time limit on filing for a condition that you filed for. You could have filed in 1990 and come back at it now in 2022.
It's going to read Joaquin Rivera on wondering about that PNT for sure. So young and PNT already, Elizabeth. Great job for sure. So there's no age limit on being PNT. If your conditions are diminishing your quality of life to that extent, and the medical evidence says so, then you can be any age as a result of all those conditions.
Yep. And my story, my injuries are the unseen things. They're the internal battles. And I am rated for mental health. I am also rated for GERD and Crohn's, as well as some other things. So a lot of my conditions you can't see. Um, that makes it hard sometimes because, like you said, and you pointed out, like you're young, you don't look like there's anything there. Um, but there is, and that's one of the things that I really love to do with my veterans is talk about how these other conditions are contributing to other conditions. And so, for me, my stomach is directly tied to my mental health. When I am really struggling with my mental health, my stomach issues become more severe, and they're directly linked together. The
Mm-hmm.
trick to the PNT is that over the years it's been established for me that these issues are not likely to get better. So they become static. That means I'm going to have to have treatment and go through a lot of these things forever.
Hmm.
That's where the P&T comes in. So, leading into Eric Sloan's question, that he's been told that if he goes back now, that he's at 80%, you run the risk of them redoing all of them and giving you nothing. So there is some truth in that, some. It's not completely true. If you go in and request an increase, but your medical evidence shows that you're getting better, then you pose the risk of getting it reduced. If you go in and request an increase, excuse me, and your medical evidence shows that it's gotten worse, then you'll get the increase. Theoretically, sometimes the VA gets it wrong and you have to go back and fight. But it all comes down to your medical evidence. And it comes down to, are you going to the doctor and telling them what's going on? I'll be the first one to tell you, Coach Luna, I don't know about you. I am the worst at taking care of my own health. I suck it up. I drive on. I drink water. I'm like, I am not going to the doctor. I don't
I
have
was
time for
gonna
this.
follow up to what you were saying before, like every everybody watching. These are our coach faces right now, but we're still vets. There's still times that I have to call even the crisis line, like around Memorial Day. It was rough for me. It's nothing that I even planned for. Just I realize something is wrong, and I get in a very dark headspace that that I have learned how to try to cope as best I can. There's sometimes that I do need to reach out and talk to Liz, talk to the crisis center, talk to people that care about me. So you guys are seeing our coach faces. We're still vets with our own disabilities, and that's where we can help connect with vets that feel alone or isolated. Like sometimes talking to a vet that is in the same uh, headspace that understands, there's just a compassion there that you can't really find even with the most experienced counselors.
You can't
So
replicate that.
you can't at all. And like, yeah, again, you guys are seeing our coach faces right now, but we're still vets. We still have our bad days. So, this is us. We're vets helping vets in this program. So we understand.
And kudos, Coach Luna. You got uncomfortably vulnerable and you set an example. And that's what we ask our veteran clients to do. And that's how you get the rating that you deserve, because you can speak to those symptoms. You can speak to those things. You can talk about the time you had to call the crisis line. You can talk about what's really going on in your life behind closed doors. And you can seek treatment. You can get the help that you need, and you can also get the rating that you deserve. So, well done. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Whew, I got through that without crying.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But one team, one fight.
Absolutely. It's part of the reason I love this so much, because we get to do that and we get to have those moments with each other and with our veterans. And whew,
It
good
like
deal.
decompresses because, like, like what you were saying, like vets, we just show up. Like, you and I are both really bad about following up with our own care needs. Like I let an intent to file completely expire because I hadn't done anything for a full year on my claims, but I just kept managing by popping headache medication, taking caffeine pills, and then I realized like, holy crap, I am doing more harm to myself than good. So I've made it my New Year's resolution this year to just get back on the ball of taking care of myself. Like, you can do good. You kind of get complacent when doing good, and then just slowly start and keep ignoring all your own red flags. But like yeah, like we can get so consumed by wanting to help our fellow vets. So it's something. It's uh, what's the word? It's just a chronic behavior of wanting to take care of others.
It is. And one of the things I do to combat that is I use my secure messaging portal in My Healthy Vet, and I message my provider, "Hey, I have really been struggling to make appointments. I make them and then I have to cancel them because something pops up. I know that I need to get this treatment because I'm still experiencing X, Y, and Z symptoms, but I'm struggling.
Hmm.
I've been assigned a case manager, and I'm sure she can't stand me because I do this and I love this, and I will ignore those phone calls all day to support my veteran clients. So,
Hmm. Been
but
there.
we all do these things, right? So do the things that you can, and secure message portal is a great way to update them and let them know you're still experiencing those symptoms without going into a doctor's appointment. Wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, then you keep that evidence going along that you're still dealing with X condition, and it might get worse, might get bad. Like I've had migraines that have been going on for like 4 days at a time this past month, and I'm like, I need to actually just follow through on this. Like popping Tylenol, or not Tylenol, but Excedrin, and hoping for the best is just not working out. It's only making the problem worse.
Yeah. Travis Piles, I think a session on guard and reserves when having an issue on status, especially during drill or AT situations, would be huge. There are a lot of us in that situation where supervisors and leadership don't do the proper documentation and then they get screwed over later, like yourself and others. There's a lot of legwork to try and go back to prove something happened. I agree. I think a live session talking about that would be awesome. And I spent my career in the guard. I did 16 years of AGR. Um, and, I got hurt, but I also had some background. So I was like, nope, you're going to do an LOD for this, or I'm going to call the G1. And really, if you don't get those things documented,
That
or
never
if your
happened.
leadership, yeah, or if your leadership blocked it, then there's an issue. But if you do have that one friend that was at annual training with you and saw you blow out your knee on a PT test, call them. I saw this. The leadership told him to suck it up, didn't let him go to the ER. Not until 5 days later, after drill weekend had concluded or after annual training had concluded. So, those are the things, that you really need to hone in on. And the VA needs to concede that it happened while serving. Um, and there are specific regulations, there's guidance in there that tells them how and when to consider it. So when you show them that those are met, then that's going to really help. But I agree. I like that idea. We'll add that to the list. Thanks, Travis.
Hmm. Yeah, there's like guard or reserve. Like I was active and reserve, so I saw both worlds. Like active, it's a little bit easier to follow up with the doctor. In reserve, a lot of times you just wanted to go in there and then get out and then just resume your normal life. So like you didn't want to bother with going to see a doctor or write up a report. You just kind of again vets suck it up to their peril and then end up missing out on some valuable evidence. So if you still talk to any people that witnessed any events while you were on active status, that is a really good place for a buddy statement to come in handy.
And a buddy statement paired with medical evidence is even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have your calendar that says you were at drill this weekend, these dates, the buddy statement saying, yes, I saw this happen, and then an ER record from 2 or 3 days later, that fits. That that tells your story. That supports your story. And so those are the ways that you can combine those things. And that's one of the things that we do as coaches is we start pulling these things out to determine what you need or
Mm-hmm.
if it's even possible. I'll be the first one to tell one of my clients, "Hey, that's not a good strategy because you don't have the evidence. You don't have anything to support it. You can go for it. I will never tell you not to go for something you think you deserve, but I will tell you if I think that it's going to be successful or not."
That's another good point. Is we're honest. Like When we look at your records, your disability list, and we advise you on what we know you have a good chance of winning, like that's based on solid evidence. If you tell us a claim that you just want to pursue out of like a vendetta or vengeance that you just want, but there's nothing to support it, like you're just setting yourself up for so much disappointment because we'll be honest that like it's got no chance of winning. And some vets have gotten angry and wanted to be reassigned, but like again, it's based off of what we see works. If you have something that was never documented on active duty, you started seeing somebody 20 years ago for a condition, you have no buddy statements. It doesn't matter how many appeals that you send your way. There's just not enough evidence to for that to happen. So a lot of times, even those claims are such small wins, even if you did win them. Sometimes, like a vet will just want to get something submitted out of a vendetta, and that claim would like at most probably get 10%. So have an
Sometimes
open
even
mind.
zero.
Yeah, 0 or 10%, but they have been fighting like Moby Dick. Like they just want to go after this with such a vengeance, and at the end, it wouldn't even yield a significant difference to their rating, anyways. So when you sign up, have an open mind. Know that we've been doing this for a number of years now. We see what works, we know what doesn't, and we pass that on to you so you don't constantly burn yourself out with claims that just are better left alone.
Absolutely. The link below to sign up. And then I wanted to address Bob because he said Vietnam old Corps Marine recon vet. Are there coaches that are more experienced with us? Absolutely.
I got like
We
three. Mm-hmm.
we do have coaches that are experienced with Vietnam. And all of us, so you get a mastermind when you sign up with a coach. It's not just me. I reach out to the other coaches, I reach out to the other SVCs. Coach Luna reaches out. If we are struggling to figure out what the best strategy is, we talk to each other and we throw these things out there and say, hey, what do you think? What do you think? It's not just, well, Coach Liz thinks this. So that's what we're going to go with. We communicate, we train each other and teach each other. We're always learning, we're always evolving. And so you get all of us. So, yes, to answer your question. And then Rick Dowdy posted, I just wanted to hop on and say I just recently hit 100% permanent and total because of this wonderful company after 21 plus years of trying to do it myself. Thank you, VACI, forever in your debt, Rick Dowdy. And I'm trying not to let the onions in the other room get to me. Um, Rick is one of the people that makes this community so strong. He is in our classes and he talks to our new vets and he inspires our coaches. He inspires other veterans. He is part of why we are here. Just like all of the other veterans, I see you, Beverly, in there and everything. But this is really a testament to why we do what we do and why we're here and why we love that we get to do this. So, if you want to be a part of that community, if you want to join Rick and Beverly, and I'm sure there are more of you in here that I haven't seen yet, but get started. There is no risk. If you don't win, you don't pay. If you don't submit your claim, and you decide, nope, this is not going to work for me. I had a client today reach out and said, I just filed my claim and, or not, I filed my claim 6 months ago. I've already done my exams. How can you help me? It's better for you if you wait. It's better for you if you wait until that has been decided so you don't get stuck paying us for something we didn't do.
That's a good point. Yeah, if you
That's
guys
who
have
we are.
pending claims already, it doesn't matter if it's a first time claim or an appeal, then wait for that decision to be made. Get those documents back, and then if they are not successful or not successful to your liking, then sign up with us. Show us what those determinations look like, and then we can start off on a clean slate and go from there. So, by all means, if you guys do have some claims pending, hold off from signing off. Like you already put all that work in there. Now we can help you out after that is decided to see if we can further improve on it.
And another one of our core values is integrity, and we truly live by that. So that's something I wanted to put out there for you
Yeah.
guys.
No, good point. Very good point. I wanted to incorporate that too. So, very good point. If you have claims, wait. We'll be here for you when they're decided.
Got a question. What's the difference of titles, SVC and coach? So I am a senior veteran coach, which means I lead a team, and Coach Luna is a veteran coach that is on one of our SVC teams.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Got a couple of minutes left. Did you
Should
find
I
one?
use my current medical records with VA medical uh, if they are related to my claim, or the VA admin will access them anyways? So, if you're talking about private medical records coinciding with your VA medical records, that's excellent evidence for that. If you're talking about your VA records solely, then when you submit your claim, they're going to be audited in that way. If you want to incorporate, like on this date, speaking to this doctor in a statement, that might help the evaluator narrow down looking through those records, but you wouldn't have to submit all those records to them if you're strictly talking about VA records. But if you have VA records and private records both saying the same thing, that your disability is impacting your life, that's excellent evidence that should be submitted.
And sometimes if you just pull the one thing you want them to see the most out and put it in with your claim so they don't have to go looking for it, that's helpful as well.
Mm-hmm. The easier you make things for a VA evaluator, the better off your claim will be. They have
Absolutely.
lots of claims to go through, and when you have guys like me that will submit a autobiography, uh, you know, they're going to want to move on to something more cliff notey.
Absolutely. Let's take a the last couple of minutes to recap. Thank you all for joining us today on this live. I really enjoyed talking with you, Coach Luna, and answering the questions in the chat, covering some hard topics today.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for bringing those out. I hope you learned some things about personal statements. I hope you got the 4 points and you're able to get to that blog and really review these things. And I hope this helps you. My link is below. You can sign up again directly with me. Um, Thank you again for joining us. We do have live Zoom classes every day of the week, Monday through Friday, that are available to our elite members when you sign up. So you'll get more of this style of interaction. And that's what we were talking about, the community. So check that out. Turning it over to you, Luna. But thank you all again. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for spending your time with us.
That
Oh,
is
Beverly,
Coach.
don't feel bad. I filled out for 19 issues and used it to throw it and see what sticks methods. Don't worry, Beverly. I have been there too. My VSO submitted a whole bunch of stuff that I was not ready for. We don't do that here. So we may submit one or two claims, fully developed claims. We're not going to do the spray and pray method, is what it's called. We're going to be very precise to make sure that we have the solid chance of winning in the fastest way possible.
Absolutely. And Beverly, I got you. Beverly is one of my veteran clients. So, and it's a pleasure working with her. I'm so glad she's here. I'm glad you're all here. And Dave Becker, great session. Thank you. Thank you guys. You guys make this
Thank
what
you.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we appreciate all of you. Yeah. Have a
Yeah.
wonderful day.
Mm-hmm. We're vets helping vets, so thank you.